So the question is this the best priming system in the world? They claim so on their website. This is the Primal Rights CPS competition primer system. It's pretty badass, not gonna lie. I'm gonna pop this over into my QD mount. I've obviously just mounted this on sort of our universal plate, and that allows you to simply pop it in, and I'm gonna fasten it with these guys. But before we get there, did you guys see this week MDT had on their website, not on their website, on their Instagram actually, they gave some of their staff members XRSs with like custom color inserts. So basically all the panels came off and they redid these internal bits in a different color. It came out pretty slick. So I'm tempted to do that. Maybe go FDE with like, I don't know, greenish or something, or do like a multicam type of thing. Let me know if I should do that. If so, then we'll do that, I guess. Right, I'm gonna fasten this guy up. I'll see you after the intro. Let's go. Okay, so before we go into sort of the pros and cons of this system, I want you guys to know that I didn't get this last week. I've had this for months, okay? I've seated thousands of primers with it. So I've got a pretty good idea of how it works, what kind of things I like, what I don't like, and that's pretty much what we're going to be going through in the video. Now, the elephant in the room with this is obviously the price, and we'll speak about that once we get to the end. Obviously, for me, I'm in a different country, so that kind of makes it a little bit worse, but it is an expensive bit of kit. Anyway, so without further ado, one thing, and I guess this is the biggest misconception of this piece of kit. This is not for the guy loading 15 rounds. Well, it could be, because I'm doing that with it. But, you know, if you're doing primers on a single stage press or a handheld priming tool, as soon as you start loading like real volume, like we do when we shoot National Rifle League stuff, I mean, this is 223. This is for me about 2 months. That's gone. It never ends. You're reloading all the time. So when you're doing that with a hand priming tool, for me actually, ironically, after I've broken my hand, it would actually be really good to do that, to build some strength back, but I'll probably end up with some form of tendonitis from overusing the tendons. A tendon is basically like a cord that holds your muscles to your bones. So if you overuse that, you're going to get tendonitis, and that's going to suck. Okay, so now that we've spoken about tendonitis, which you didn't think you're going to learn about in today's video, I've obviously spent some time with a hand specialist in the last couple of months. Let's have sort of a brief overview. So first of all, when you get your CPS, it's going to come with two sort of inserts, okay, that you will be able to switch out, and that's going to allow you to switch between large primer and small primer. Now, it also comes with the little sort of primer shaft, if we can call it that. I don't know what their official name is, but you have two of them, one for large primers and one for small rifle primers, and that goes in that little hole over there. Now, the one thing I don't really like, but I get why it works that way with the design, is you have to use the Lee Auto Prime, what do they call them? Auto Prime shell holders. Yeah, I actually had to write that down because I don't use these on anything else that I do. And basically the difference is they don't really click in, they just sort of sit in, and then you clamp them down with a hex wrench or Allen key. Now, as you can see, I have a disease, okay, that I actually got from my friend Skulk. So Skulk, if you're watching this, is 100% your fault. Fear of running out. So this is, I think, 14,000 small rifle primers, and we can still buy primers here in South Africa, but I like having a lot in stock. And then we've got some large rifle primers here. Now, a couple of things I really like. So let's go pros on the CPS. First of all, it's fast, okay? It's ridiculously fast. Now, they claim that you can prime with precision. Now, this is very important, okay? And you might think to yourself at this point in time, so let's quickly insert this piece here, is why would you worry about how deep or how precise your primer is into your case? Well, for the same reason you worry about your neck tension, how much powder you're putting in, which bullets you're shooting, you know, how much are you bumping your shoulders back. All of those things make a difference, and you want consistency across the board. Now, it's very important in your ignition sequence. In other words, as that primer explodes, it's going to ignite your powder, and you want that to be consistent. And one of the ways you achieve that is by seating every primer the same. Okay, so this, they claim, seating 20 primers per minute, okay, with 1/1000th of an inch accuracy. So we're gonna test that today. So what I've done is I've got 20 rounds of, this is basically a 300 PRC case. Oops, Jake Paul tried to steal my hat. Basically a 300 PRC case, and we're gonna seat primers in there. Now in order to load your primers and basically get the machine ready, you use their shuttle system. Now the machine also comes with 2 of these rods, one for large rifle, one for small rifle primers, okay? And you literally pick them up like this, very quickly, flip it over, pull out the little circlip, primers goes down, and what's really cool about that, every time you go back, it fetches a new one, you bring it to the front, into your case, okay? So it's quite simple in that regard, and what's cool is if you have your hand in the right position, you can do this pretty quickly. You have a really good feel of how that primer is going into the case, and that's something I really like. You can instantly feel if, you know, this is brand new brass I'm shooting now, brand new brass, so they're all going to be the same. Okay, if there is an outlier, I am able to, you know, put that guy one side and I'll use that to foul up my bore or whatever the case, and I'll keep an eye on that case down the line. But for the most part now, we shouldn't have that. With brass that has been fired multiple times, you do end up every now and again feeling, hey, that one wasn't so good, and then I'll park them all off to the side. Now I'm going to pop this little clip back in here. Very important that you want to do that, because otherwise if you pick them all up and you go like this and you never put your clip back, you're going to be on your hands and knees for a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to decant a few of these guys. Okay, now the reason I do this, I have them in an airtight container, so don't be too worried about moisture. The reason I do this is because 14,000 primers like this take up significantly less space than having those brick sort of shaped ones that they come in. So I'm going to chuck out a few. It should do it. And then basically all you have to do is flip them all upside down. So in other words, you have the round shape to the top, and then you're literally just going to pick them all up. I'm not going to bore you guys with that, so we'll fast forward through this bit. But it's super simple. It could not be easier. Well, it's a little bit more difficult if you have the small rifle one, so make sure you have the large rifle one, and then you will be able to get them in a little bit easier. So it goes pretty quickly. What you can do if you really wanted to, now we're not fast forwarding, I'm talking through this, is get one of those sort of primer flip trays that the guys use that shoot IPSC, and you're able to just sort of shake them and they all flip together. But for me, I kind of just do it by hand, and it generally goes pretty quickly, as you can see. That's kind of how we do things here. It's a one-man show. So please subscribe. It does make our life a hell of a lot easier, and it does help out the channel a lot. Right, so that should be 20. We're going to go into this hole, pull our little clip out, and I generally park the clip over here so that I know it's always in the same place. And now we want to get our timer out. So let's go stopwatch, put a countdown timer on, and we're not sort of in our flow state now, because trust me, after your first 100 you tend to go even faster. Ready to go, primed for action. Let's get our fingers warmed up. Okay, so I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to start in 5, 4, 3. We're going to start to the front, 2, 1. We should be able to do this relatively slowly, feeling precise, hitting the back, fetching my next one, boom. And what's really cool about this, it gives you a nice hard stop at the back there, so you can really feel everyone is absolutely precise. 44 seconds left, and we are ahead of schedule, I do believe. The other thing that's really cool, there's this knob on the side here, and I'll show you guys some footage of that. Actually, no, I won't show you footage of that, because then you'll think I've cheated you. Okay, there's the knob, this red one over here, and you can actually set how deep you want your primers to go in to the back of your case. And you can do that with some of the hand primers too, but yeah, this one is super repeatable, and I really like the fact that we have a hard stop. As you can see, I'm not rushing at all, and we still have 7 seconds left. Oh, now, maybe I should have rushed. Okay, without the talking, we probably would have done it. Okay, so that's end of the time. Okay, so we came up short by 4, but you know, as you can see, oops, as you can see, it is pretty quick. Now, something else that's really cool that should definitely go into the pro section is that it's fully ambidextrous. Okay, so you can literally turn off this handle, pop it over into the other side, and this was so convenient when I broke my arm earlier this year. and I could still operate it and just sort of, because I was strong enough to pick up a case and put it in and just use this arm. So that was pretty cool. Now I have no doubt that if you're focused and you're going quick, you'll be able to do 20 a minute, which puts you over 1,000 in an hour. So then you can really do some serious volume with that serious precision. Again, we want that precision because you want consistent ignition across the board. You can also then use that feel that you get from the press to take cases with loose primers, put them off to the side, or even start binning some pieces of your brass. I have done, by the way, successfully in the past. If you feel for whatever reason a primer is loose, okay, that might be from overpressure, or you've shot your case 47 times, that I softly push out that primer with the universal decapping die, and I actually reuse those primers, so just be careful. And speaking of which, another thing that's a very big plus for this system is that it's bench mounted. Okay, so for whatever reason, I actually had my safety glasses here. I should have put them on. So highly recommend putting on glasses when you're reloading. I was a bad boy there, but I don't have 20 more cases, so we're gonna roll with it. This system is bench mounted, so that basically means if for whatever reason there's a detonation here, okay, the explosion is going to be controlled, it's going to be upwards, it's going to be away from your face. So you should be much better than, because the danger is with the hand priming tool, it's facing you, and as your arm gets tired, you're switching out, so it's unpredictable where that case mouth is actually facing. And I've had that in the past, and it's something I have spoken about. On my Lee Pro 1000, a case or a primer detonated in that little, I don't know who designed that, but that guy should lose his job because that thing sucks. That thing exploded, and it actually caused a chain reaction running. One prime explodes, the next one, and the next one into that little tray at the top, and it was a complete mess. What's cool about this is there's quite a distance between where the shuttle system goes and fetches the new primer to where you're actually seating. And everything is made from, aluminium. It's CNC, this thing. So it's going to be fine. Okay, you're not going to have a chain reaction. So that is really cool. One of the other things you might have noticed is how effortless that little action is. It's ultra smooth. Now we can see that here a little bit close up. I mean, this is, obviously with CNC you get really good tolerances. Now what I did to make that even a little bit more smooth, and this is potentially now nitpicking and putting it into my cons, is that initially if you're not pushing it 100% forward, it kind of doesn't, it's difficult to describe, it doesn't bind up on itself, but it's not as smooth as I would have liked it. So for me to make it a little bit more smooth, I just put some of this fluid film stuff just on the raceways, kind of how you'd lube a bolt, and now it's, whoo! Ka-da! It's just really cool. So yeah, as you can see, it's super slick now, and I like the fact that I've got super speed, and it kind of gives you a really good little motion too once you start really getting into a rhythm. Let's chat about some of the cons of the CPS. So first of all, the price. It's $600. It's expensive, okay? Especially in my country with import duties and shipping it here, but it is an awesome piece of kit. Now, unfortunately, if you haven't figured this out yet, the nature of the beast with the sport is as you sort of get deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, you start adding things like the auto trickler, annealing made perfect machine. You add these things because you want to eliminate variables. For me, that was the biggest reason why I got those pieces of kit, because I didn't want to, think about whether my cases were annealed correctly with the gas, because I don't know if it's the same every time. I didn't want to worry about difference in powder, so I got the auto trickler. And the same thing can be said here, having consistent primer seating every time. Another reason why I also invested in quality kit over sort of my career, if you will, in this sport is time. We spend a ton of time in our reloading room, and especially if you're doing the sort of volumes like we spoke about earlier. I don't want to spend time reloading. I'd rather spend that time playing with my little ones. So I've invested into kit to get me my time back. Now, yes, Primal Rights did send us this unit to play with, and it's phenomenal. And initially, I must say, I was like, it's maybe a little bit gimmicky for the price. It's very expensive for me. You got to realize for every $1, it's times 14 in South Africa at the moment, or 14 something. So it is expensive. In America, maybe it's not that expensive. Your purchasing power is obviously a little bit different. Having said that, where I am now, having seated thousands and thousands of primers with this thing, it's freaking awesome. It's a staple of my reloading process now. Obviously, I have it, but just the switching back and forth, I could easily load all of these on my single stage press because it's got the little primer thing in there, but I don't because I know I'm going to get the consistency here. Another con is it's available in red. If you don't like red, then what I would also do probably, what I would have liked to do is have some sort of way where you could, because there's quite a bit of metal down here, maybe you could have had like a little storage thing where you could put your other unit, and even maybe a little shell holder thing where you could put your Lee Auto Prime shell holders over there like that. That could have been cool, so maybe that can be added down the line. But honestly, I'm nitpicking at this point. It's a really awesome piece of kit. It's built like a brick shithouse. If you have the money and you want to invest in good kit, I don't think you're going to go wrong. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. Now, you might think Primal Rights sponsored today's video. They absolutely didn't. MDT did because they make awesome stuff and they like what we do. So thanks to them for making videos like this possible. Again, thanks to Primal Rights. If you have questions, reach out to them. Greg is a super solid guy. He's also a big 7mm fan. So Greg, I know you're going to like this video because this 28 Sherman mag is going to be absolutely booking it. Guys, that's our video on the CPS. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you've picked one up, what you think of this kit. And I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully we'll be at the range too. It's a little bit rainy the last couple of days, but I look forward to stretching the legs on this guy. It's going to be a fun round. And hopefully we'll get that bulletproof glass out to distance and put some lead on there. Anyway, bye.